welcome back to the channel. We have huge updates for the next stimulus package. Chuck Schumer and Bernie Sanders just announced a new deadline for the next stimulus package, so we have an estimate for potential payment dates if that deadline is met. We'll also go into the possibility of a later payment date in case they blow past that deadline. And of course, we're talking about the $1,400 stimulus check for seniors that Bernie Sanders and other groups have proposed to put in this package. So let's discuss the details in this video, but before we do, don't forget to like this video and subscribe. I also have a second channel, so do me a huge favor. Click on the link that's in the description of this video. Subscribe to my second channel. I'm going to be giving away a stimulus check there just as a thank you for supporting my work. So let's jump right into today's stimulus update. Well, Chuck Schumer announced that he is aiming to have a deal by the end of this week, which would be October 22nd. And what he meant by that is he wants the framework for a deal. Because yes, although we've been doing this for months, we still don't have an agreement on the actual framework of the deal. And yep, a lot of this goes back to Joe Manchin. Of course, he wants to do a $1.5 trillion package. Most other Democrats want to do about a $3.5 trillion package. And now it looks like President Biden has folded and saying we're going to do something between $1.75 and $1.9 trillion. So with that said, Chuck Schumer wants a framework done by the end of this week based off of that new price tag, right? So they've been arguing over the price tag all of these months. And now that they're coming close to an actual overall price tag, now they're saying, okay, you have till the end of this week to come together and agree on a framework. Not every single detail, but kind of an outline for this package, like what's going to be included and what are we going to take out. But that is not the deadline. That is just the framework deadline. Now, the overall deadline we'll get into in just a second. Now, as far as what's going to be taken out and what's going to make it in this package, the main thing that we want to see is the stimulus checks for seniors. Now, all of this started when Bernie Sanders pitched a $1,000 stimulus check for seniors for this next stimulus package, and most likely that will be in the form of a debit card to help seniors pay for medical expenses. But the way it's written, it looks like you could spend that money on anything, anywhere where debit cards are accepted. So although Bernie Sanders is kind of marketing it as something for medical expenses, it doesn't seem like you would be forced to actually use it on that, if that kind of makes sense. So Bernie Sanders proposed the $1,000 stimulus check. Then we had groups in Congress wanting to increase that to $1,400. So right now we're wondering, is Congress going to include this in the package, or is this something they're going to take out? We'll probably find out once we have the framework, which again, the deadline for that framework is this Friday, October 22nd. Now, President Biden has agreed to lowering the stimulus package cost, but he explicitly said there will be another stimulus package in 2022. He said we might not get the whole thing this time, but we're going to keep coming back for the rest. So he kind of clarified, and what he meant by that is whatever doesn't make it in this first stimulus package, he's going to try and include in the next one in 2022. Now, that could include the stimulus checks for seniors, but we're still hoping that'll make it in this current stimulus package. It could include the monthly stimulus checks for seniors and for those who are on SSI and SSDI. It could also include the permanent Social Security increases that President Biden promised in the campaign trail. Now, he promised to permanently increase Social Security across the board and pay for this by taxing the rich. So a lot of experts think that that is going to end up in the next stimulus package in 2022. Now that Democrats have agreed that they're going to do another stimulus package next year, it seems like Bernie Sanders and other liberal Democrats are kind of okay with lowering the overall price tag of this current stimulus package. Now, they're not happy about it. Nobody really wanted this to go down except for Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, but unfortunately, Democrats need every single vote in the Senate. They can't even afford to lose just those two senators if they want to approve the stimulus package. So unfortunately, it looks like Kyrsten Sinema and Joe Manchin are going to get their way. I know it's so frustrating. In a time when seniors need this stimulus the most, we have Democrats like Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema trying to lower the amount of stimulus instead of trying to expand it. I know it's completely unacceptable, and I know it's frustrating, but the good news is we have an overall agreement on how much this stimulus package will cost. which is the first step. I mean, it's taken us about 6 months just to get this first step done. And now Chuck Schumer is saying, all right, let's get the framework done by the end of this week, October 22nd. And then they want the completed stimulus package done by the end of the month. So that is the new deadline. October 31st is their current deadline to have this stimulus package done. Now, I know that sounds kind of optimistic. It's 11 days away as I make this video, but you know what? We've seen them put stimulus packages together quickly when they really want to hit their deadline. So if we take a look at this congressional calendar, the colored dates that are in yellow means that both the House and the Senate are in session. So if you see, they're both set to be in session until November 5th, and then they basically have the majority of the holidays off. The majority of November and December are off. So one of the main reasons they might want to stick to this deadline is so they can actually go on vacation, they can enjoy their time with their families, and they can spend more time fundraising for the holidays. So Congress likes going on their vacations, so that is why they're trying to get this done by the end of October. Now, is that realistic? Well, honestly, I'd only give it about a 25% chance for this to happen, but this is what they're aiming for, so this is what this video is about. Now, let's say this stimulus package is approved on October 31st. Let's say they take it all the way to that Sunday, they work on a Sunday, and they fully approve it to get it done. Well, we've seen, based on previous stimulus checks, that the majority of people won't get their stimulus checks for 2 to 3 weeks. Now, it could be faster. This would technically be the fourth stimulus check, so at this point, their systems could be working a little more efficiently. But based off of what's happened before, the majority of people probably wouldn't get their checks until the middle of November. So that would put us somewhere between November 12th and Thanksgiving, November 25th. Now, they usually come in waves, so each week you would see more people get their stimulus checks. So based off of what's happened before, I would assume that a small handful of people would get their checks the first week of November, then more the next week, and even more the week after that, and then the small amount of remaining people the last week of November. Of course, there's always a small percentage of people that take a couple of months to get their check, but for the majority of you, you would expect to see it sometime in those first 4 weeks in November, with, again, the majority of people probably receiving theirs the second and third week of November. So that would be a nice little Thanksgiving gift, right? A $1,400 stimulus check for seniors would go a long way in making your holidays a lot better. Now, is that realistic? Now, personally, this is just my opinion. I don't think they're going to get it done in 11 days, and what I truly think is going to end up happening is they're going to stretch this all the way out until the first week of December. So if you see here, they're back those first 2 weeks of December, and this also coincides with the debt ceiling crisis. Now remember, Democrats did a 2-month solution for the debt ceiling. The government will continue to be funded until the beginning of December, at which point experts think funding will run out once again, and they'll have to come up with a more permanent solution. So it is expected that Democrats will try and get this stimulus package done before then. Otherwise, Mitch McConnell is going to try and make Democrats include the debt ceiling bill in the stimulus package. And for various reasons, Democrats don't want to do that. I won't go into that in this video, but in my previous videos, I talk about the fact that Democrats will do whatever they can to not include the debt ceiling bill in the stimulus package. For various reasons, they don't want to do that. So this is why the hard deadline really is December 3rd, right? So let's say they got approved on December 3rd, on that very last day, like they always do. Again, we don't really expect stimulus checks to go out that first week, but then those next 3 weeks, we expect more and more people to get their waves of checks. So the week of December 13th, December 20th, and December 27th is when most people would receive their checks. Again, some people will take a couple of months. Some people will get theirs in a couple of days once it's approved. But for the majority of people, it would be in those first 3 to 4 weeks after it's approved. Again, that would be a nice little Christmas gift right before the holidays, kind of help you buy your family some gifts, maybe buy a nice Christmas Day meal, maybe buy yourself a nice gift for once if you're having worked your entire life and paid into Social Security and then receiving benefits that are just so small that you're forced to live in poverty. Maybe get a check and buy yourself a nice little gift. Obviously not with the whole check, but, a couple $100 to buy yourself something nice would be a really great Christmas gift. So that is the current deadline set by Democrats, October 31st, but the more realistic deadline is December 3rd. So those are the deadlines and the potential payment dates for this $1,400 stimulus check. Now, another reason Democrats want to get this done by October 31st is that Biden is set to go on kind of a vacation. It's really a business trip where the G20 summit is happening. This is when the top governments meet and their economists kind of discuss the state of the global economy, what they think is going to be the best steps moving forward to make sure the economy develops in a healthy way. And of course, President Biden is expected to be there. But at the same time, he's leaving in the middle of when we're trying to do this stimulus package. And he's also going to stop by and meet with Pope Francis. So if he's meeting with Pope Francis before the stimulus package is done, it's kind of going to look bad while the American people are here struggling. But let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. But that's another reason why they want the stimulus package done by October 31st, because that is when Biden is supposed to go on this trip. Now, Democrats are hoping that now that they have a deal on the overall price tag of the bill, that Bernie Sanders and Joe Manchin will come together and finally wrap up this deal on this stimulus package. Now, Bernie Sanders did something really aggressive this week, and some people think it was a good move, some people think it was a bad move. He actually wrote a letter in the West Virginia newspaper slamming Joe Manchin, which is where he's from, West Virginia, for not wanting to approve this stimulus package, which is blocking the Medicare expansion on top of all the other stimulus things like stimulus checks for seniors. He's slamming Joe Manchin in his own home state. Now, some people think this is a good idea, and they think this is motivating Joe Manchin to get on board and get this stimulus package done. But then some people are saying that all it did, quite frankly, was piss Joe Manchin off. Now, they did hold a meeting the very next day. Joe Manchin and Bernie Sanders actually held a meeting the very next day to try and get the stimulus package done. And they were seen walking out of Congress, basically hugging each other with their arms wrapped around each other. So take that for what it is. But what I took from it is that Joe Manchin looks pretty happy that the price tag is coming down. And quite frankly, I think Bernie Sanders is pissed off. Now, the only thing keeping Bernie Sanders happy is the fact that President Biden promised to do another stimulus package next year. But, I mean, if stimulus checks for seniors don't end up in this current stimulus package, it's going to be really frustrating to have to wait another 6 months just to get stimulus for seniors, on top of having to wait to have Social Security benefits increased as well. So we'll have to wait and see. There's still a chance it ends up in this current stimulus package. Nancy Pelosi actually recently gave a speech talking about the importance of not cutting things out of this package. So let's quickly take a look and see what Pelosi had to say.
But also in meeting and being the caregivers that are employed in that situation. So this is something that, I mean, we started out at a big price. I hope we can be at the highest level. I was pleased to hear what the senator had to say about that. But it is, again, a tremendous value to us. And when people say they want, oh, it's too big, and yeah, well, what would you cut? Would you cut care for people with disabilities or seniors who need help or children who are sick on a prolonged basis? What would you cut? Would you cut family and medical leave, paid for family and medical leave? Would you cut child care? Would you cut universal pre-K? What would you cut? Would you cut the child care tax credit? We're talking about our people. We're talking about our people. Why? Because you don't want to tax the richest people in America? We're not punitive. We don't resent any of their success, but we do want them to pay their fair share. We want them to pay their fair share. So for so many reasons, I thank all of you. And good, I like this, America needs union jobs. I love it because what I always say is the backbone of our democracy in our country is the middle class and everybody who aspires to it. And in America, and that democracy depends on a strong middle class and those who aspire to it. And that middle class has a union label on it.
Sounds pretty reasonable to me. Let's make sure the rich are paying their fair share. We know a lot Okay, look, a lot of people make good money and pay their fair share. Okay, I think we could all agree. But a lot of millionaires and billionaires are not paying their fair share. It's been proven. First of all, the tax codes are set up for them to legally pay less in percentage in taxes than we do. Some of them pay less in a percentage of tax than those who live in poverty, than someone who paid taxes their entire life into the Social Security system. Now you currently live in poverty and you're paying, some of you pay more in taxes than some of these billionaires. It's insane. Then it's also been proven that some of them illegally don't pay their taxes because the IRS just doesn't have enough employees to audit all of them. It's completely unacceptable. And like Nancy Pelosi said, we need all of these things included in this stimulus package. We need funding for home health care for seniors and for those who are disabled. We need funding for a round of stimulus check for seniors and for those who are disabled. We need monthly stimulus checks for Social Security and SSI and SSDI as well until they permanently increase benefits, again, like Biden promised on the campaign trail. Now, there are a lot of good things happening. One, although it will be smaller, we have an agreement finally on the overall cost of the bill, which allows us to move forward and is why Democrats are now giving a deadline with potential payment dates for that stimulus package. Then we have President Biden promising to do another stimulus package in 2022, which who knows, that could have another round of stimulus checks, especially when it's been proven that when Democrats approve more direct stimulus payments, they win more elections. Those 2 Senate seats in Georgia, stimulus checks help them win those elections. Governor Newsom in California, doing a 4th and 5th stimulus check in California, helped him win re-election in California as well. And now a lot of experts are saying that most likely Democrats are going to do another stimulus check in 2022 because there is a midterm election which will have House and Senate seats up for election. And the last thing Democrats want is for President Biden to lose control of either chamber, making him a sitting duck for his last 2 years in office, and would basically set him up to lose in 2024, which we all know Trump is probably going to run. And by the way, let me know your thoughts. Would you prefer President Biden or Trump to be president in 2024? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. But with that said, guys, we should have a lot of updates to come in the next couple of weeks. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will keep you posted on the next 2 stimulus packages, Social Security changes, and daily news updates as well. And thank you so much for watching. So until the next video, take care and have a great day.